On this edition of NewsTeam Boulder for Thursday, December 2nd, 2021, students graduating in December get a fresh start, final thoughts on CU's football season, and the house from one of your favorite holiday movies available on Airbnb. The semester is quickly coming to a close, Buffs. Hello and welcome to NewsTeam Boulder. I'm Georgia Worrell. Finals are just around the corner, and you might be wondering when and where you're going to study. Well, Norland Library has just updated their hours. Next week, the library will be open from 7:45 a.m. to 11 p.m. Then, from Reading Day, December 10th to December 14th, the library will be open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. On the last day of finals, December 15th, Norland will be open from 7 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. To be at your best this finals week, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends that college students do not interrupt their normal sleeping routines. And definitely don't pull all-nighters to finish that paper or cram for that exam. The semester ending represents a fresh start for all students, especially those graduating this month. Here's NewsTeam Boulder's Jessica McCauley with the story.
As students, we spend countless hours studying, and then even more time pondering where this studying will take us. For students like Sydney Keller, she's known where she's wanted to be ever since her early days at CU. Sydney is one of the many students who is graduating after just 3.5 years of college. And while she's excited to finally be done with school and for her first real taste of freedom, there's something bittersweet about this final chapter in her book of CU. The university is not holding a university-wide commencement ceremony to honor this semester's graduates. CU went from holding 3 commencement events per year to 1, and it's a reason you're not expecting.
The academic calendar shifts over the course of 7 years, and university operating requirements mean we have to end all our academic activities by a certain date. And at the time we canceled the winter ceremony, we brushed right up against that date. It's also right before the Christmas holidays, which is really inconvenient for our students and their families.
So I'm a marketing major in the Leeds School of Business, and so I do feel really supported by the network that I have there. So my professors, my mentors, former coworkers, and friends. But I don't feel as supported overall by the university by not having, any ceremonies.
The last winter commencement address the University of Colorado Boulder held was back in December of 2015, and it was held right behind me at the Coors Event Center. And while other colleges may be having recognition ceremonies for their students graduating this semester, Leeds School of Business is not one of these.
So my advisor, I reached out to her a few months ago and let her know that I wanted to graduate in December. And she let me know that there wasn't going to be a commencement or any kind of ceremony in December, but I could come back in May. I've decided to move to Chicago. I don't know that coming back in May is going to be entirely realistic. Or, even if it's available at that point in time, maybe I'll feel like I've moved on because I've been working, in a full-time job for about 5.5 months. So yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a weird experience not having a graduation. My dad is still coming out to help me move, but there's no big celebration of graduating.
Commencement is the most important event that we host on campus every year. It's what our students have been working for their entire careers. It really signifies the entire reason for our being. We educate students, we graduate them, and commencement is a tangible expression of that commitment and that relationship.
And while Sydney's graduation won't be looking like this, she's still hopeful for the future.
So instead of a graduation ceremony, my dad is coming out here to help me move, and he got an Airbnb. But a lot of Airbnbs around here, you can't really have people over, you can't have guests, you can't have any sort of party or celebration. So my family's actually doing something back home. We're just gonna have family and friends from the Bay Area celebrate with us. Like I said, maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't.
Jessica McCauley, NewsTeam Boulder.
CU Police will be hosting a law enforcement training next week. The event will take place in Williams Village from December 6th to the 10th. The school has taken measures to minimize the impact of the training, but if you see a lot of police officers around, don't be afraid because they're a part of the training. Coming up after the break, the effects of the football team's performance this semester on CU culture, and later, a house you'll recognize from your favorite holiday movie, available for rent on Airbnb. The suspect accused of opening fire at Oxford High School, killing 4 people and injuring 7 others on Tuesday, has been identified as 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley. New details are emerging about the 15-year-old gunman who stormed a Michigan high school Tuesday. Authorities say there were concerns about Ethan Crumbley's behavior leading up to the attack. CNN's Shimon Perkepes reports.
The 15-year-old accused of killing 4 and injuring others at Oxford High School is now charged as an adult.
I will enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Both the suspect and his parents appearing in court virtually. He faces 24 charges, including terrorism causing death and 4 counts of first-degree murder.
In terms of the premeditation required for a first-degree murder charge, this just wasn't even a close call, unfortunately. This was deliberate, this was planned well in advance, and disturbingly so.
Investigators say they discovered troubling videos on the suspect's cell phone from the night before the deadly incident. While they did not give specifics,
he talked about shooting and killing students the next day at Oxford High School.
The Oakland County Sheriff says the suspect had meetings with school officials the day before and the day of the shooting for concerning behavior and another undisclosed issue.
In fact, the parents were brought in the morning of the shooting and had a face-to-face meeting with the school. We did not learn of that meeting, nor of the content of that meeting, until after the shooting.
Videos posted on social media showing the chaos and terror happening as some students and teachers barricaded and evacuated their classrooms.
I heard screams come from the hallway, and the first gunshot happened. And my teacher, he walked into the classroom, he locked the door, he told us to call 911, and then we heard the rest of the gunshots go off, more screams.
While Oxford High is blocked off with yellow police tape as authorities continue their investigation, outside the school a memorial is growing, a small way to remember and honor the 4 teenagers who died in the tragedy. Among them, Hannah St. Juliana, who played basketball. The 14-year-old was set to make her high school debut in the sport she loved Tuesday night. 17-year-old Madison Baldwin was in her senior year and already accepted to several colleges according to her family. Justin Schilling was 17 years old and the co-captain of the bowling team. He passed away at a local hospital Wednesday morning. And Tate Meir, a star football player at Oxford High.
He was smart. He could play well. He was really good at football. And he's really good at wrestling. And me and him used to joke around. Me and him used to play, and he used to have like this cool smile.
Javon Pittman, emotional, describing the loss of his classmates.
I can't see Justin. I can't see 2 of my closest friends. Tay was like a brother to me, and Justin was too.
The culture of college football has a significant impact on a university. Unfortunately for the Buffaloes, the season's outcome was not what they hoped for. With more on the impact and the future of CU football, here's News Team's Kaylee Elkin.
The season started out like any other. After training all of off-season, the players were warmed up and ready to start the game. Finally, fans were excited to be back in the stands and cheer on their University of Colorado Boulder football team. But no one anticipated that the season would turn out like it did.
As a student body, we were really let down, and there was so much anticipation for us to be back in the stands and for us to have a well-developed team with the new coaching staff, but we really got let down, and it was really disappointing just to see how the season went overall.
Unfortunately, the 4-8 record and 9th overall ranking in the Pac-12 for the Buffaloes this season was not the only misfortune they had. 2 of their coaches were let go from the program. Head coach Carl Durrell was quick to enact these changes in the program. However, the lasting effects of these decisions are unknown. Some players like Ashad Clayton, Tristan Oliver, and Zephaniah Maia were also quick to enter the transfer portal after having a challenging season. Sadly, now Folsom Field is empty, which means season is officially over. However, the program is working internally to solve the recent issues so that next season the team can be successful.
I hope that they definitely gain that knowledge going into next year and are able to get a better recruiting class in, and at the end of the day you want to win, and this school has a good history of that, so we want to keep that at the top of our priorities and have that be the expectation going into next year.
The future for the Buffaloes is currently unknown. There is hope in these internal changes that are taking place in the Champion Center, so that next season is different for CU. I'm Kaylee Elkin, NewsTeam Boulder.
How will the weather behave this weekend? Catherine Zamora will give us the details coming up. Hi Buffs, here's everything you need to know about the weather this weekend. The warm weather is staying around a bit longer today in Boulder with a high of 71 and a low of 40 later this evening. Our air quality is still super nice, right around an 11, which means that it's the perfect day to get out and enjoy outside. But for the rest of the state, we are still looking at unseasonably warm temperatures, especially in the eastern half. Denver will still have highs in the mid-60s and low to mid-30s. But as we go through the rest of the weekend, it definitely starts to cool off, with temperatures in Summit County reaching the lower 30s and upper 20s, and the rest of the western half of the states are cooling off around the 50s. Colorado Springs and Denver are still going to be a bit warmer, with unfortunately no snow in the forecast as we head into next week. But for the rest of the country, the warm temperatures seem to be a trend, especially across the southern half. But a snowstorm is making its way through the northeastern and central states, and there are still some moderate temperatures right through the mid-region. Tomorrow here in Boulder, the temperature is going to be a little cooler, but still mostly sunny, with a high of 61 and a low of 32. But as we head into the weekend, it is still going to have that nice warm sun, especially on Saturday, with a high of 65 and a low of 42. As for Sunday, it's going to cool off with some clouds coming in with a high of 56 and a low of 20. But definitely be sure to break out those jackets, because Monday only has a high of 43, and it's definitely going to have some heavier cloud cover and a low of 31. But Tuesday, there's a chance of rain with some snow showers. The high will only be at 41 and the low is around 25. But that's it for weather today, and back to you, Georgia. Coming up after the break, do you recognize the house that's now available for rent on Airbnb? Coming up, we'll reveal it. The Boulder community can finally come together again this year to see the lights of December. The event will take place this Saturday, December 4th, starting at 6 p.m. at the historic downtown Boulder and Pearl Street Mall. Along with lights, spectators can enjoy a parade with floats made by community members, marching bands, lit fire engines, holiday carols, and a grand finale featuring the jolly old man himself, Santa Claus. New Yorkers know the holiday season is here when the Rockefeller Christmas tree lights up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The plaza hosted the annual lighting ceremony Wednesday. Officials expected one of the biggest Manhattan crowds since the pandemic started. Rockefeller Center says the tree lights will be on from 6 in the morning until midnight daily. On Christmas, they stay on all day. Home Alone fans have a shot at renting out this house from the movie for one night this month. Airbnb says it will open booking for the Chicago area home on December 7th. The stay is scheduled for the 12th. Nabbing the overnight will likely be difficult, but the stay only costs $25. This offer coincides with the release of a new movie in the series called Home Sweet Home Alone. If you're too young to remember, Home Alone came out in 1990. It featured Macaulay Culkin as a young boy, left to protect his house from two buffoonish burglars. That's it for this edition of NewsTeam Boulder. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at NewsTeam Boulder. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Georgia Worrell. See you next time.